I've never seen anything like that, and I pray to God I never see it again.
We discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. It came out of me and I didn't know.
Knocked on the door and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm just having a hard time going to the bathroom," is what she replied.
Parents are often seen as protectors, guiding their children through life with love and care. They are expected to nurture, shield, and provide safety. But what happens when these parents who are entrusted with a child's well-being become the source of unimaginable harm? Same is the case of a 19-year-old girl who was arrested for dumping baby in trash. Alexi Trevizo, Artesia, New Mexico, January 27, 2023. The incident began when Alexi arrived at the hospital complaining of severe back pain. The hospital staff, following standard protocol, conducted a urine test, which revealed that Trevizo was pregnant. Shockingly, this was news to both Alexi and her mother, as neither was aware of the pregnancy. Despite the revelation, Alexi vehemently denied being pregnant or having engaged in sexual activity, a reaction not uncommon in cases of unexpected pregnancies involving young women. Shortly after the pregnancy was confirmed, Alexi requested to use the bathroom. Hospital staff, suspicious after hearing multiple flushes, became concerned that something more serious might be happening. Nurse Lorraine, noticing the excessive flushing, expressed concern that Alexi might be experiencing a miscarriage and flushing the remains down the toilet. When attempts to communicate with Alexi failed, the staff used a key to open the bathroom door, uncovering a scene of horror. The bathroom was smeared with blood on the walls, floor, and toilet, indicating that something traumatic had occurred.
We discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. It came out of me and I didn't know.
I told you about this.
But it
I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
It was not crying or nothing.
What did you do to it?
When I went in there, it was a bloody massacre.
Initially believing that Alexi might have harmed herself, the hospital staff searched the bathroom more thoroughly. It was then that the discovery was made. The body of Alexi's newborn baby was found in a trash can, wrapped tightly in a hospital trash bag, concealed beneath other waste. The baby, wrapped so carefully that the bag's top had been twisted and tucked, was already dead when hospital staff found him. After making the gruesome discovery, the hospital staff immediately called the police. Alexi, still in the hospital, was placed under medical observation due to significant blood loss and potential complications from childbirth.
She said she needed to go have a bowel movement, and that's kind of when the whole thing happened.
Knocked on the door and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm just having a hard time going to the bathroom," is what she replied. So I was like, okay.
At some point I went and kind of checked on her, knocked on the door, seen if she needed anything. She denied. She said she didn't need anything.
Did you hear anything?
I didn't hear anything.
Flushing the toilet flush?
Yes, after a while I started hearing, so I probably checked on her 2 to 3 times, I'm not exactly sure. And then I just kept hearing paper towel dispenser and flushing and like the water running. And I knocked again, did she need anything? Denied anything. And then eventually it got to a point where I said, "You need to come out." And I asked the clerk to get the key to unlock the door, because obviously she locked the door to go to the restroom. And whenever we finally had the key to unlock it, she opened it and just kind of walked out.
Did she say anything at that point?
She didn't say anything. She was just looking kind of straight past me and went back to me.
In the hospital room, Alexi was confronted by law enforcement and medical personnel about the baby's death. In a recorded exchange, Alexei admitted to placing the baby in the trash, but claimed she was terrified and did not know what to do. Her mother, distraught, begged Alexei to tell the truth, but Alexei maintained that the baby wasn't crying when he was born. Law enforcement officers informed Alexei that she was being detained and that she was not free to leave the hospital until a full investigation could be conducted. Although she was not immediately under arrest, the gravity of the situation was clear. The officers informed her that detectives were on their way to speak with her, and the baby's body would be sent for an autopsy to determine the exact cause of death.
And all I saw was like blood everywhere, like on the walls, on the toilet. It just looked like a horror film. The toilet's right here where you're at, and then the sink's right here. It was like up this way, blood splatter.
What?
Like
In your line of work, what would cause that kind of splatter?
I think something that got pulled out or ripped. Like if you rip something and blood just went, it was like once you see the photo, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just...
So like you say, like rip, like something went like that?
Yeah, like when you rip something, or if you cut something and you go, like you swing your hand and blood just splatters.
Okay, so
that's how it looked.
Oh, so this was fresh to you?
Yes, this blood was fresh. You could even smell it.
We didn't know what this blood was from. We were a little concerned that maybe she had, known that we were going to figure it out and that she might have harmed herself or something in the restroom, so the doc wanted to go check her, but obviously that wasn't the case.
As the investigation unfolded, the details painted a tragic picture of a young woman, perhaps in denial about her pregnancy, who made an irreversible decision in a moment of panic.
Oh, she came out of the restroom. There was a little trail of blood from the bathroom back to her room. We went to her room. I went to get her undressed. The doctor came in, explained to her that she had a miscarriage. Her and her mom had a back and forth about it.
The doctor said she had a miscarriage?
Yeah.
Okay.
She said it seems, essentially, I'm not sure the exact words, so it was a few months ago, but she said, it seems that you've suffered from a miscarriage, which didn't seem totally abnormal. It seemed awful miscarriages before they're very bloody. And so...
was she bloody?
Mm-hmm.
Like
and then
her legs?
Yeah, she had blood all down her legs, and then there was blood in the bathroom everywhere. So
where exactly was the blood and how much?
It was a good amount. It was on the floor.
The autopsy and further forensic evidence would later prove critical in determining the charges brought against Alexei. At this stage, things have gone too far, and we need to think about a few important questions. Firstly, Alexei's mother was clearly upset about her daughter's pregnancy and sexual activities. Could she have influenced Alexei's actions? Additionally, did Alexei confide in any staff members about her situation? And most importantly, did the baby show any signs of life?
I was called and to go clean the patient's bathroom in ER around, maybe 2 o'clock or so, I think it was the time, I'm not too sure. So when I went in there, it was a gory, bloody massacre mess.
Could you describe it if possible?
Yeah, there was blood everywhere. There was blood on the floor, on the wall.
Do you remember which wall?
The one behind the toilet, and then the one on the side, right here. There's the one where the toilet sits, back of that.
Yeah.
And then on the side.
Where the call button is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the floor, everywhere. When I went to go through the trash, I felt that when I picked up the trash and I looked in it, there was there was trash in it, but I knew that didn't feel like when I picked it up, it was some weight. So I thought it was the trash bags, because we put the trash bags on the bottom. Mm-hmm. And so I started getting the trash out, and then when I did that, I seen that there was a baby in there. And that's when I freaked out, and I called Lori and HT, or the nurses up front, and because there was a baby in the trash. And the baby, when I looked at it, the baby was wrapped up in a, like in the bottom of the trash can, and with trash on top of it, in a trash bag.
And so how did you see it, as soon as you picked it up?
No, after I picked up the trash bag that was on top,
okay,
where they were throwing the trash at, when I picked that up to change it, that's when I noticed that there was, when I seen the baby.
You describe the baby?
Yeah, he was about that big. He had hair, and he was purplish, but still not pink. I don't know how to describe it. He was he wasn't bruised or nothing like that, and he was purple, pink skin type color.
Every nurse had reported that Alexei had been altering her story a little while in her mother's presence. Cindy, one of the nurses, even advised that to get the truth, it might be necessary to ask the mother to leave the room. I went to the room, introduced myself, and began asking Alexei routine questions. First and last name, date of birth, and other details. I explained that it was very important for her to be truthful, and then asked, "Did your baby take at least one breath, or was it not breathing at all?" She looked directly at me and said, "Can I tell you something?" I urged her to go on, and she revealed that she had been experiencing severe abdominal pain, and when she went to the bathroom at the hospital, the baby just fell out. She claimed that when she held the baby, it wasn't breathing or moving. In that moment, it was difficult to hold back judgment.
And then when I picked it up, that's when I noticed it even more, because all I saw was black and purple. But once we picked it up, like the bag suctioned to his face. And that's when I yelled for my charge nurse, which was HT. And I told him, hey, she put her baby in the trash can. So I handed the baby to him. And he took off to the trauma room and opened up the bag. And then that's when we went and got Dr. Vasquez.
I go in the bathroom and she goes, something's in the trash can. I'm like, I looked in there, there's a clean liner. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, pick it up. I picked it, I could feel the weight. I knew then we had a serious problem. I just grabbed the trash can and went right across the hall into trauma 2. The liner was pulled out, but there was another trash bag in there in the bottom, but it was all it was rolled up. So I had to tear it apart. And then, of course, I saw the baby in there. So I pulled the baby out, got him on the bed, checked for signs of life. There was absolutely no life whatsoever. I immediately came out of there. After I did that, went into the room where she was performing the vaginal exam, and I immediately told her, you have to come out now. And she came out, and we went into trauma 2, and she reassessed the baby. At that time, between me and Chris and her, we determined, there was no reason for us to begin any life saving. The baby was completely gone.
I wanted to ask her why she hadn't called for help, but I restrained myself. She continued saying that the baby wasn't moving, so she just placed him in there. I returned to her room later and realized I needed to conduct an internal scan, as there was still significant blood on the table. A police officer was present, which made both of us uncomfortable, so I asked him to step out. During the scan, she kept talking, mentioning that she didn't know she was pregnant.
And could you tell if the baby was alive or
They did
passed?
not look alive.
They didn't look
They
alive.
not look alive. But also, I think the time that passed since she left the bathroom and it being in the bag, it was just...
How long do you think that was?
Maybe like 10 or 15 minutes. I just have a guess. I don't know. We brought the baby up. We called the doctor, obviously, out of the room from her exam, and we came in, doc assessed the baby, and basically determined it was not viable to completely work the baby and all of that. So it seemed like we were being just deceived from the beginning, but that's just my take on it. It seemed like she was very manipulative with us, and it was at least what it seemed like to me. She didn't want you to discover that she was pregnant, and she wore really baggy clothing. And she wouldn't sit still for you. I'm sure she was very uncomfortable too, but yeah, she wouldn't allow you to do it.
It seemed like she'd been trying to hide this pregnancy from her mother for some time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know you're pregnant, you're not going to continue taking birth control pills. But if you're trying to hide it, you might start taking weight loss medications. That's just kind of what it seemed like in my head.
She was a cheerleader, she said, and had gained weight, her clothes had become tight, and she had been on birth control. None of it made sense to her, she claimed. After completing the scan, I handed over the report. The scan revealed some remaining tissue, which is not unusual after delivery, whether it's normal or complicated. The next morning, I started hearing more details about what had happened, stories circulating throughout the hospital. Though I had seen enough to know that Alexi had given birth, the real picture became clearer. Despite her claims, the medical staff believed Alexi had known she was pregnant and had panicked. Her behavior, the rapid manner in which she spoke, and her obvious fear of getting into trouble all hinted that she knew exactly what had transpired.
The umbilical cord looked like an animal had torn it apart. Like, have you ever eaten string cheese?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you twist it, that's how the bottom of the umbilical cord looked. And I just remember it caught my eye, and I was like, God. I was like, this chick really ripped this thing apart.
I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, we do have to have the police involved.
And that baby was crying. It came out with nothing.
And then I went in there to talk to the patient,
Okay.
and asked her why was the baby in the trash can.
And what did she say?
She said that it just came out of her and she didn't know what to do.
And I said, did your baby take at least one breath when it first happened? Or did it take at least one breath, or was it not breathing? And then she kind of looked at me in the face and the eyes, and she was like, well, can I tell you? And I said, tell me what? And she said, so I've been having this bad abdominal pain, she said, and we came here to the ER, and when they brought me back here to this room, I felt like I needed to go poop. She said, and I asked if I could go to the bathroom. She said, and so when they said, yeah, that I could go to the bathroom, she said, when I sat on the toilet, she said it just all fell out. And she said, but when I had it in my arms, it wasn't breathing, it wasn't moving. And so, of course, you want to be very, very judgmental at that time, and you have to bite your tongue sometimes, but you know, my first reaction was like, I wanted to say, hey, well, then why wouldn't you call us for help? But I didn't. She said, so I just, he wasn't moving, he wasn't breathing. So I just placed him.
Later, as I checked on Alexi, she expressed concerns about what would happen to her, repeatedly asking about the consequences, but she never once inquired about the baby. Not a single word. Her focus was entirely on herself and the trouble she might be in. When I checked on her mother to provide an update, her mother also didn't ask about the baby. Instead, she wanted to know what had happened in the bathroom, but I couldn't divulge any information. It struck me as odd that no one asked about the baby's well-being. Alexi's reaction, or lack of reaction, to the situation was unlike anything I had ever seen.
I was really surprised not one person asked me about the baby. If it was alive, if it was dead, if it was a boy, if it was a girl, no one asked me anything. She didn't even ask. No, she didn't ask. The only thing she started doing was crying and started talking about she didn't know what to do. Not one. I've never seen I've delivered multiple babies and I've seen multiple miscarriages and I've never seen a reaction like that. And I don't even know what to say about that. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
How would you describe the reaction?
I think there was no emotion except for herself. And she really wasn't even crying tears. She was just, and the only thing she was upset about was that I think she was going to be in trouble with her mother.
She didn't say anything about what had happened. Mm-hmm. She was just essentially worried that she was just going to get in trouble.
So that's what I mean. Were those the questions she was asking?
Mm-hmm. Like what's going to happen to me? Like that kind of thing.
Did she ever ask about the baby?
No.
Not once.
She essentially was scared. She was worried that she was going to get in trouble. She did have the back and forth with her mother that was just about like, they had said, oh, the mom was upset because she had had sex and hadn't told her. So they were going back and forth on that, and then she was just denying it, which was a little out of wasn't really deniable at that point in time.
Right.
So the patient was denying having sex at this point to her mom?
Yeah, she was trying to state that she was still a virgin.
After she came in from the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
She displayed no emotion, no grief, nothing. I've seen women who have been pregnant for just a few weeks, and when they lose a baby, they are devastated. But Alexi, who had just delivered a fully developed infant, showed no visible signs of distress. It was chilling to witness her detached demeanor. As more information came to light, it became clear that Alexi had likely been trying to hide her pregnancy from her mother for some time. She had even asked me what might happen if someone stopped taking birth control and started weight loss medications. It seemed obvious that she had been trying to mask her pregnancy, a suspicion confirmed by her behavior and the tension between her and her mother. They had argued over Alexi's sexual activities, with Alexi initially denying that she had even had sex, despite the undeniable evidence. The mother-daughter dynamic was peculiar, to say the least. Her mother seemed angry and controlling, and Alexi was more concerned about getting into trouble than about the life she had just brought into the world. Not once did she show any concern for the baby. What troubled me the most was the fact that Alexi never gave anyone a chance to save the baby. She didn't call for help, didn't ask for assistance, and simply allowed the situation to unfold without intervention.
She definitely knew what she was doing and what was doing was wrong, because of the way she was talking to me just stating, I didn't realize I was pregnant, and I'm going to take the birth, so, she was panicked, but, I didn't see her being in a state of mind where she did not know what she was doing.
When there's like 1 or 2 things in the wastebasket, I usually pick it up and take it out, but I didn't that night. And then, I've been kicking myself on this because I feel like, if I would have just taken it out, I would have seen it.
Well, no one prepares for that type of thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Most people don't act like that, so don't blame yourself for it.
Yeah.
Because it's not a natural thing to do.
It's just hard because I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I've dealt with death before, but never like this.
Right.
It was horrible.
I'm just going to tell you this. I've never, ever seen a reaction like that girl. I don't even know what to say about it. There was zero emotion. I don't even know what to say. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen women that are only married, or not married, but pregnant for 6 weeks and they lose that baby and they're a mess. You know what I mean? That girl went into that bathroom, made no sounds at all, and the baby came out of her. And I don't even know how she functioned that way, to do what she did and with no emotion. I've never seen anything like it.
And it was a pretty good sized baby. Pretty good size.
It looked term to me.
Yeah, me too.
It was term. I can't tell you that was, but the only thing that upsets me the most is I understand she was scared, and I think her mother had a big dynamic on her, and I understand that. I think her mother was probably pretty controlling. I don't know that. I'm just speculation. But she gave me no chance to save that baby. I had no chance, and that's not what I do. My job is to save lives, and I had no chance on that baby. She gave me no chance. And we are a facility that you can drop the baby off, no questions asked. You can just leave the baby and go. I don't care, as long as you bring the baby to a safe. We are one of those type of hospitals, so it's hard to fathom what was going on in her mind.
Our hospital is a safe haven, meaning that anyone can drop off a baby with no questions asked, ensuring the child's safety. Yet she didn't take advantage of that option. Instead, she remained silent, offering no opportunity for anyone to save her child. I've worked in this field for many years, and I've never encountered a case like this. It was almost surreal, like something out of a TV drama. The baby, which was described as pretty good sized, had been delivered without a sound, and Alexi had handled the situation with a chilling lack of emotion. Even after everything came to light, her focus remained on herself and her potential consequences. As the day progressed, Alexi was airlifted out of the hospital, still holding on to her constitutional rights. Whether she would choose to speak with authorities remained uncertain. But one thing was clear: Alexi's actions and her emotional detachment left a deep, unsettling mark on everyone involved. The reality of the situation was hard to fathom, and I can only hope never to encounter such a case again. Alexi is being treated for her internal bleeding, and the investigation into her case continues. As the authorities move forward, they will primarily work with Alexi's mother, Rosa, to handle the legal matters and continue their inquiry. 2 crucial questions remain. Did Alexi commit murder, and how will this case ultimately be resolved? In the next interaction between Rosa and the Aria Police Department, it becomes apparent that their focus is still centered on Alexi and her well-being, rather than on the tragic death of the baby. During a conversation between Rosa and the investigators, the small-town dynamics become clear. Rosa mentions that rumors about Alexi's situation have spread through the high school, a sign of how tightly knit communities can amplify gossip. Despite the spread of information, the investigation remains ongoing, with Alexi's condition being a primary concern for her mother. Rosa plans to keep her daughter home for a week while arranging therapy for her. The mother's protective instincts are evident as she expresses concern over Alexi's legal troubles and emotional state, revealing the strain that both are experiencing.
Let me know now. I'm giving you the cooperation. I told you answer my question. What is she under arrest for?
Like I said, she's over the age of 18. That is the only camera they put her.
Bring her out here. We'll
What is she under arrest
bring her out here.
for?
We'll tell you right now.
No, I'm not bringing her out here yet. Let me know what she's under arrest
She's gonna
for.
get arrested regardless. I mean, I don't know why you're
For what? For what? For what?
Are you okay with telling me?
Tell me.
Homicide. Open count of homicide. And tampering with evidence.
Tampering with evidence
Yes.
at the hospital?
So, can you see her now?
Give me a minute.
Okay.
The investigators assure Rosa that they will continue working closely with her throughout the case, including any updates regarding the baby's autopsy. Rosa asks about the return of the baby's body and how funeral arrangements will be handled. She is informed that her daughter Alexi will need to make the final decisions regarding the remains since she is of legal age. However, Rosa's protective nature shines through as she discusses financial concerns and funeral options. The next significant development occurs when, after 3 months of investigation, an arrest warrant is issued for Alexi. During this period, Rosa remained fiercely protective of her daughter, attempting to manage the situation and limit what she perceived as external threats to Alexi's future. On the day of the arrest, police arrive at Rosa's home, ready to take Alexi into custody. However, Rosa, in a state of panic, refuses to cooperate without seeing the arrest warrant first. Rosa repeatedly questions the officers about the charges and demands to know why Alexi is being arrested. The officers try to explain that Alexi is over 18, which means they don't have to provide Rosa with the full details immediately. Despite this, Rosa continues to argue that, as Alexi's mother, she has the right to know why her daughter is being detained. Eventually, the officers inform Rosa that Alexi is being arrested for an open count of homicide and tampering with evidence. This revelation stuns Rosa, who, until this point, seemed more focused on protecting Alexi than coming to terms with the gravity of the situation. The police move forward with taking Alexi into custody, and Rosa pleads with them to treat her daughter gently. She requests that they not be rough with her and is assured that she can follow the police to the station where Alexi will be processed. Once Alexi is in custody, the conversation shifts to her immediate legal circumstances. The officers explain to Rosa that Alexi will be seen by a judge within 72 hours, with the possibility of being released on her own recognizance, meaning she would be trusted to stay out of trouble and abide by the conditions set by the court. Despite the severity of the charges, Alexi has no prior criminal record, which could work in her favor during the judicial proceedings. As Alexi is led away, the emotional toll on Rosa is palpable. She continues to express concerns about Alexi's safety while in custody, even requesting that she be placed in protective isolation to prevent any potential harm. Rosa mentions that Alexi's lawyer, Gary Mitchell, had also advised such measures to ensure her safety in jail, considering the nature of the charges and the high-profile attention the case has garnered. In the meantime, Alexi's defense attorney, Gary Mitchell, begins to challenge the prosecution's case. In public statements, Mitchell argues that the baby did not die as a result of Alexi's actions, but rather due to medical negligence. He claims that the hospital committed several errors, including giving Alexi morphine for over an hour, which he asserts contributed to the baby's death by suppressing the baby's breathing. Mitchell further argues that the autopsy findings, which concluded that the baby died from suffocation, are flawed. He raises additional points, including the presence of bacteria in the baby's system, such as E. coli, and the fact that the baby tested positive for both COVID-19 and influenza. According to Mitchell, these illnesses, combined with the hospital's alleged medical mismanagement, were the primary factors that led to the baby's death. As the legal battle continues, Mitchell emphasizes that Alexi was unaware of her pregnancy until the moment she gave birth in the hospital bathroom. He claims that the hospital knew she was pregnant for nearly an hour before she delivered the baby, but failed to inform her or take appropriate action. He also accuses the hospital of giving Alexi drugs that were contraindicated for pregnant women, further complicating the situation. Despite the ongoing investigation and looming trial, Alexi remains out of jail, confined to her home with little contact beyond her immediate family. Mitchell prepares to mount a robust defense, focusing on the hospital's alleged mistakes and challenging the state's evidence. As the case heads toward trial, Alexi faces charges of first-degree murder and tampering with evidence, a tragic culmination of a complex and deeply emotional case. That's all for this video. We hope you have found this video informative, and What are your thoughts about this case? Let us know in the comments section. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon for more interesting videos like this. Thank you for watching our video.